Okay, so as you can see in this diagram right here, as the rain cloud comes in, the rain starts to fall down, right? You're going to have a buildup of water in here as runoff continues to build up in an area. But as you can see on the bottom right here, right, here's the soil. This is the grass right here. The water is going to start to infiltrate or kind of break into the ground, and the movement of water into the ground due to the pull of gravity. So gravity's pulling it down, and you can see that as the water starts to collect, it does start to trickle in there, but the pore space, the openings inside of the soil is really small. So it takes a long time for it to go in there, and if it's the rain accumulates too quickly, it will start to build up, and puddles will start to form, even as it's trying to break through and get into the ground there. So again, same definition here at the top. In infiltration, you can see at the bottom left, the water seeps down into the empty spaces, and now it's moving downward, right? And eventually, it's going to meet other groundwater that's underneath at the ground, and it will just add to that storage of groundwater. But again, this happens very slowly. Water moves down inside the ground very slowly, which is why you're going to have this buildup on top of here as it will run off to the side, even as it's getting soaked into the ground. So that's infiltration. You may have already seen that if in IXL or certain diagrams as part of the water cycle. Now, percolation is another important part of it. Once it's already inside the ground, right? So first it breaks into the ground, right? Think of like I don't know, like a bank robber breaking into the bank. Okay, so now that the bank robber's in there, it wants to go find the money, right? If it's going to steal the money. So now it has to like look around and figure out where am I going to go to get that. So that's kind of like what's happening with the water. It breaks into the ground, but where's it going to go next? Well, it's going to go through all of the open spaces, sometimes called pores and other spaces that are inside the ground here. And it's going to find its way all the way down until it reaches what's called the water table, which is located underneath here. So this process of the water seeping through all of the open spaces and trickling downward, that's called percolation. So first comes infiltration. Then afterwards is percolation. I know these are some strange words. Maybe you've heard of the word percolate. Someone might say, let it percolate inside of your head. That's like when you get new information and it first breaks in, you're like, okay, now I get it. But now it's going to like seep around. It's like, but wait a minute, does that mean this? Does that mean that? That's kind of what they're talking about with percolation. The downward movement of water through pore spaces and other spaces in soil due to gravity. So gravity impacts both of those things, both percolation and infiltration. Now, as you probably could already figure it out, groundwater is water that is located within rocks below Earth's surface. One thing that's really important for you to understand is that groundwater, it's located in between all of the different rock particles. It's stored inside of there. So if you remember when we were on the Rutgers bus, there was a big jar of beads, and then there was water that's filled all the spaces in between those beads, and it also rested above it. So that's how the groundwater looks. Basically, there's stuff mixed in with it, and it's not like just some giant underground lake or anything like that. Generally, that's what it is. If you were to go outside and dig a hole, you would eventually just find water, and then you found what's called the water table, which is located right here. But this is generally the groundwater that's underground. It would fill up like a well, let's say. So that is groundwater right there. There is a silly, solemn video that's going to be posted as well with this.